Trump-era tax cuts for families and businesses may be coming back. In a vote of 357 to 70, the House passing a $78 billion tax package that would restore some of those provisions of the 2017 Trump tax cuts. To discuss the implications, we're happy to have Brandon Arnold of the National Taxpayers Union. Brandon Arnold, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Brandon, the House just passing the $78 billion tax package that restores three of the 2017 Trump tax cuts for businesses, namely R&D expensing, interest deductibility, and 100% immediate expensing that purports to create 73,000 new jobs. Will this ultimately give entrepreneurs and small businesses the economic boost they need during this inflationary period, in your view?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a huge incentive to invest in the U.S. economy for the American business community. Right now, we're obviously in a global war with China and other countries right now, a race to innovate, a race to produce more, to manufacture more. And what this provision, or these provisions do, I should say, is encourage American companies to actually invest in our economy. If you innovate here, if you come up with new pharmaceutical products or new manufacturing technology, or new technology, period, you can deduct those costs immediately and fully from your tax bill. That means you're going to be more likely to grow your factory, to expand your operations, to come up with new policies, new procedures, I should say, here on American soil rather than elsewhere. It's a huge boon for our economy.
When do you think we'll see the effect of these tax cuts on employment? And if you could give us some more idea as to how you think this will help the United States compete with China.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we need to get this through the United States Senate. Passing the House was a huge hurdle. There are some potential obstacles in the Senate, one being the fact that the Senate moves extremely slowly. That's just the nature of that chamber of Congress. Hopefully, this will get to the president's desk very, very quickly. And some of these tax changes will be retroactive. That means there is an incentive as soon as the ink is dry on the bill for companies to go ahead and make those investments right away. So I do think we could see an immediate boon to our economy. We could see job growth very, very quickly, which is really important because I think if you look at the broader signs in the economy right now, there are some indications that labor markets are weakening. There are fewer jobs being created. And in fact, in some industries, we are seeing job reduction overall. So that is very concerning. I would like to see a lot more jobs being created out there that will push up wages and help people better cope with inflation.
Blue state Republicans in particular were also not happy that it didn't raise the $10,000 cap on the total amount of state, local, and property taxes that Americans can deduct on their federal returns. There was talk about a second tax bill as a compromise to address the tax cap, but that hasn't happened yet. So that was critical for New York Republican lawmakers who prioritized addressing the cap back home in their districts. I want to play some sound and get your reaction.
I believe that SALT is very important. It's been extremely detrimental to my state and many blue states, and we're going to figure out the best way to undo it.
So if a second bill does that and play out, how will it actually play out in the current economy?
It allows the state legislators in Albany and Sacramento and Annapolis and other blue states to raise taxes and effectively shift some of that burden onto the federal taxpayer. So that's the reason why you've seen fewer people leaving these high tax states for lower tax jurisdictions like Texas and Florida and Arizona. So absolutely, we need to get rid of this deduction altogether, not increase it, because if we increase it as they're considering in Congress right now, that is only going to allow for further fiscal mismanagement in these blue states. So I'm hopeful that the bill that is working its way through Congress, it should be on the House floor, I think, as early as next week. I'm hoping that this bill fails. This is the kind of tax relief that we don't need. I'm in favor of lowering taxes generally, but this is the kind of tax relief we don't need because it's going to only help these blue states mismanage their finances. And by the way, it produces 76% of its benefits to people making $200,000 or more, as much as Democrats like to complain about tax cuts for the rich. This is a tax cut for the rich.
Brandon Arnold, really appreciate you joining us.